It was like all a bust. It was like, I'm going to win the world's strongest man, I'm going to fucking die trying. It's like a suicide almost. It was like, I don't give a fuck.
What is going on, people? Jumping in on this podcast to let you know about our incredible sponsors, Trained by JP, aka TBJP, the one-stop shop for all your bodybuilding needs. Whether you're looking for supplements or clothing, they have it all. Quite possibly the biggest range of subs you will find anywhere in the world, end of. Whether you're looking for pre-workouts, stim-free or high-stim, intra-workout shakes, post-workout cream of rices, vegan supplements, it is all there for you, as well as the highest grade of health subs that you will need in your arsenal. Check them out. It's www.tb-jp.com, and on there you will also find all the clothing which they release multiple times per year, but get your hands on them quick because they are limited drops. Use the discount code MAGIC10 for money off. Help the brother out, and let's get back to the podcast. Peace. Right, guys, welcome back to the Beautiful Struggle podcast with myself, Jay Davis, aka Magic Eye, and we're in for a big one today, the biggest podcast so far, big in stature and also status as well in the industry. Someone that has actually transcended the fitness industry. I mean, I would say this guy does not need no introduction, but out of respect, I just want to list some accolades that I've done my research again. So, the next guest, multiple winner of many competitions, England's Strongest Man, Britain's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man. He's got a YouTube channel, 2.8 million subscribers. He set the world on fire by pulling 500 kilos off the floor to break the world record. From presenting TV shows to documentaries and even starring in movies. He's tried his hand at boxing, competing in the heaviest boxing match in history. He's become a household name, globally recognised. Welcoming Mr. Eddie Hall to the Beautiful Struggle podcast.
Thank you. That was a fantastic
like
intro.
It?
Yeah, that was nice.
Thank you, mate. I mean, you deserve it. You deserve a big intro for a big guy. So thank you for your time today, mate, and thank you for inviting me into your wonderful home.
Thank you.
We're outside, so we are praying to the gods that it doesn't rain. Because my cameras will get fucked up.
Yeah, it might magically appear inside in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But it should hold off.
We got a 40% chance of rain in an hour, so we'll get through this. But yeah, it's a bit of a moment for me getting you on, mate. Obviously, we've known each other for a few years just through the industry. Obviously, I've shot for you and bumped into you while I've been on the road and stuff. So when with this podcast, I've obviously wanted to get people on organically, people within the fitness industry come on here. Yeah. But the goal for this is to bring people on from outside the fitness industry, and I feel you are that person that is like that. You're the blurred line, I think, between the fitness industry and outside of that, and the guests that I want to get on in the future, because I said, you've transcended the fitness industry. So it's an absolute pleasure to get you on, mate.
Well, thank you.
Very much so. I've done quite a bit of research actually for this one.
Nice. Okay.
So I've got some notes. And we're going to jump around. I hate doing like the chronological order kind of podcast where you start as a child and then you go through the flow. You've probably done a million of them yourself. Yeah. So with where you're at right now, mate, because we had a little chat off camera. You've got the supplement company up and running now and everything. So where is Eddie Hall right now with what you're doing with all your hats you're wearing?
Yeah, and there is many hats.
Yeah.
Well, for the last 6 months, I was training for an MMA fight.
Okay.
Against Brian Shaw, Martin Ford and Mitchell Hooper. And at the very last minute, that all fell through.
Right.
For whatever reason, I can't really tell you why it fell through, but it just did. Been postponed for a later date, they say. So that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I'm still training MMA currently, so I'm doing 4 MMA sessions a week.
Yeah.
Enjoying the fitness side of it, enjoying the learning side of it. Obviously, I'm still doing my Facebook, my YouTube, That's what I really enjoy. That's what I enjoy doing. That's my bread and butter. That's something that's always going to be a staple in my career, I believe.
Yeah.
And then movies is my next jump. I've been working hard doing acting lessons.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of networking, going meeting different people, meeting directors, flying to New York, flying to LA.
Yeah.
Just to go in and have a coffee with a director and then flying back.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of networking for that. Got a couple of films coming up this summer.
That's awesome.
So there's lots and lots in the pipeline. I guess the most enjoyable thing for me right now is training my son, Maximus.
Yeah, of course.
He does 4 strength and conditioning sessions, 4 strength sessions a week, and I join him for 2 of those. And that has been the biggest enjoyment of life I've ever had so far. That's been the pinnacle for me.
And I think that's where you should be, innit? That's your boy, like the fruit of the loom.
Yes.
How does it feel, like, if you were to look back, like, we'll go into it in detail, like when you were younger and stuff. Obviously, I know kind of like how you were in school and things like that. So, how does it feel if you think back to that moment when you were in school, when I know you were a good student in terms of like clever and excelling in your subjects, but I know you like to play fuck as well.
Yeah.
But then now you're flying on jets to go for a coffee and meetings with these movie directors in New York or wherever. Do you ever sit back and take that in, or do you kind of just are you moving too fast that you can't even?
I guess it's been a very gradual journey for me.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened overnight, really. My first big hit, I would say, was when I won England's Strongest Man in 2010, when I was 22 years of age. And next year I won UK Strongest Man. And then the next year I competed at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And it's just that gradual more and more exposure on TV, on social media it's been like a gradual progression. It's not like I've gone on Big Brother, won Big Brother and then become something, overnight.
Yeah.
It's been a very gradual thing. So it's been, I'd say the build, I just feel a little bit of rain.
I can see it. Yeah. I'm ignoring it.
So I guess the build-up's been really nice in that aspect. It's like, let me adjust to things very gradually. And things have been tough in that respect of, having the exposure to people, and I'm going to call it fame.
Yeah.
It can be a tough thing to deal with, but the fact it's been gradual has been quite nice for me.
Yeah, because it's been like a gentle kind of rise.
Yes.
Yeah, because I suppose these guys on like the social media, like the Big Brothers and the Love Islands and that, they just get overnight success, but then also they disappear as quick as they've appeared on the scene, because they've spunked all their money up their nose, and we won't say much on that. Also, just for reference, Eddie's turned up with a cigar, so if you see me puffing on my vape, no one give me shit this time, because he pulled the cigar out. He did offer me a cigar, but I'm sticking to the vape.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but that's I thought you'd kind of answer in that way, because it's also I feel like you are the same person that you were fucking 20 years ago. I mean, you're still living in Stoke. I'm sure you could quite easily fuck off somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
But you're grounded. You're still, obviously we've got a big old house on you, but you're still in Stoke. And I know just from being around you, you're a bit of a people person as well. You've probably still got your same mates. I've seen you bouncing around the gyms in Stoke as well. You're still training in the gyms that you've come up in. And that's come from obviously I think the way you've been brought up as well, isn't it?
I'm a big advocate for community.
Yeah.
Same schools, even going to the petrol station, seeing the same clerk, going to the shop, seeing the same people at the supermarket. I'm a big believer in that. I think it's something that keeps you rooted. Also, my family's here as well. My mum and dad. My brother's only an hour north. I've got my wife's family here as well. So there's a lot keeping me in Stoke.
Yeah.
And I do love the place. I've grown up here, and it's been a hell of a journey growing up in Stoke.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Everyone's got their own sort of journey of upbringing in these places, and I believe I had a relatively easy upbringing in that respect. But I was definitely subjected to a lot of the rough side on my upbringing, fighting and drugs and crime, and seeing a lot of death, seeing a lot of hurt. So, and you know, and like you say, people forget 7 years ago I was still a full-time truck mechanic.
Now this I didn't know, because when I did my research,
Yeah.
I saw that you were still working full-time whilst performing at the highest level, winning the highest level comps, but then I think it came to a point in time where you were like, I think the quote I heard you say was like a part-time job, part-time results, I think it was, or part-time approach, part-time results.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely right, isn't it? I think this rain is picking up.
It is picking up. Do you want to head in?
It's your call.
I mean, there's like the sky's clear. Like
It's picking. We'll give it a few
if it
minutes.
stays like this, we're okay.
We're all right like this, yeah.
No, that is exactly the mindset. I had a day job as a mechanic, working Mondays to Saturdays, and I was doing 10 hours a day. So I was working 60 hours a week in the day as my day job.
60 hours on your day, just the day job?
Just the day job,
Right.
Yeah. Then I was working as a doorman. So I was doing the nightclubs, the pubs, and I was doing that Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday nights. You've probably got an additional 20 hours of work there.
Yeah.
So I was working 80 hours a week.
Jesus.
From the age of 16 to 27. And I guess having come from I don't like to say the word poor, I come from a
working class
family.
Yeah.
I lived in a nice house, you know, as a kid. It was a 3-bed, semi-detached, really nice area. But I think my parents overstretched themselves because we lived in a nice house, but we had no money. It was like we'd go to school, I'd have £1.50 for my lunch, and all my mates would have a fiver. You know, it was just so frustrating to have this. You know, you live in the Westlands, you live in a posh house, but we were so skint.
But you didn't have nothing.
We had nothing.
Yeah.
You know, we had Christmas and birthdays were always terrible. Never went out for meals. It was always beans on toast for tea, and it was just dog shit. So that was a really frustrating upbringing in that respect.
Yeah.
It taught me that watching my dad work a 9-to-5 job in a factory for best part of 50 years for fuck all, and he was so unhappy, and I saw it every day of my life. He'd come in from work, I barely saw him, and when I did see him, he was just moping around and tired, and I could tell he just hated his life. He hated it. And watching that made me not want to be that man. My dad won't mind me saying that. Like watching that progression of my dad go through all those years of tough and like no money and just to support his wife and me and my 2 brothers.
Yeah,
it's a real tough thing to watch. So I think that was actually a very special upbringing in that respect because it taught me what I don't want to be.
What you don't want to be. I've got similar kind of things on that. So yeah.
And it sounds really horrible to say those things about your parents, but it's true. And I think hardships like that can really change a person and set their path.
It molds you, doesn't it?
Life.
It molds you. And if you didn't have that upbringing, you wouldn't be the person that's sitting in front of me today. Yeah. So it's
I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And see my dad go through that and have those hard times and watch my mum not being able to afford put petrol in the car, having breakdowns at the petrol station because she can't fill the car up, and getting to the till and I've got no money. I've seen all that, and
the reality is as well, there's still so fucking many people out there in that situation now.
Probably more than ever, more than ever.
And there could be a few hundred other Eddie holes on the rise, because it's going to mould them as well. That's interesting. We touched on obviously the life as a child, obviously growing up and stuff, with excelling in school, and ADHD came up on one of the things that I watched. It's mad now, isn't it? Because everyone's got like a condition or there's something, and obviously it's great that there's awareness for these things. I've done a podcast recently on ADHD as well. But you were never diagnosed with it. But when you kind of know the traits of someone that has ADHD, when you look back, you're like,
oh yeah, geez, I mean, obviously we've got the wonderful thing of the internet now. It's in your pocket, and it's almost become such a normal thing to see people with ADHD and autism, and other conditions highlighted on social media. And my son has ADHD, quite severe,
right,
and dyspraxia as well, which is it's a form of like learning difficulties and coordination. So, growing up, if you asked him to touch that point there, he'd touch here.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So just like a real mind-body disconnection.
Yeah.
And obviously putting my son through all that stage of getting help and going and get treatments and diagnosis. Just like, wow, like that's me. I'm watching him, the way he acts, the way he speaks, the way his temper is. I'm like, that's me. That's exactly how I was.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest fixes for ADHD is sport. Did you know that?
I didn't know this, no.
Yeah. So if a kid's so hyperactive and can't, they're basically thinking and acting before, or acting and speaking before they think. And what sport does is just expel that energy.
Right.
And dims it all down, so it calms the mind down.
Yeah.
And then they're able to sleep better, which in turn makes them concentrate better in the day, which makes them learn better. So, unbeknown to me, when I was 5 years old, I was kind of forced into a swimming club.
Yeah.
And I was swimming 5-6 times a week from age 5, training 15-20 hours a week. And I think that helped expel a lot of my extra energy, and it kept me, I was still wild, but it kept me dimmed down and helped me progress and kept my mind good. And my son, age 9, I don't really like to talk about it, but he couldn't read or write at age 9.
Right.
Could not read or write. Started going to the gym with me on his 10th birthday. Within 6 months, he can read and write.
Wow.
And I seriously put it down to going to the gym 2-3 hours a night, expelling that energy, and just helping him zone in, concentrate, that body-mind connection, and then he's sleeping better, and then he's concentrating better in school.
If you don't mind me asking, is he on meds and stuff for it as well, on top of it?
He is, but we're slowly trying to wean him off. Is it Ritalin or something?
I'm not sure.
It's like a concentration.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's speed.
Is it?
I think that's what they do. They give them a very small microdose of speed, and it helps them actually focus on the tasks.
Right, okay, yeah.
So he's been on that for quite a while as well.
Yeah.
But that's something we need to be aware of and bring him off.
Well, I didn't know
slowly,
that. I'm sure if anyone's watching this, the fact that the sport is like, you've seen a massive change in 6 months. And that's a huge thing, isn't it? Being able to read or write within 6 months of being not able to being able to.
And at primary school, it was a big question mark whether he was going to go to normal high school. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And then that year 6, when he turned 10, started to train with me. Everything started improving. I was in high school. It's towards the top sets in the classes. He's like top set in maths. He's,
Wow,
I'm not going to say he's a genius, but he's doing so much better.
But the difference and the contrast
is massive. He's
that's
gone
awesome.
from being bottom of the class to being towards the top.
That's awesome, mate.
Which is, very
And that's got to be fulfilling for you now at this point in your life. I know we'll go into it where you were when you were leading up to obviously the winning the World's Strongest Man and everything, where you were mentally at home.
Yeah.
To now on the other side of that seesaw, where you're now devoted to that, and you're seeing a result in your boys' kind of upbringing from that as well. So that's got to be a really cool fucking thing.
It's massive, man. It's one of as I say, it's one of life's best gifts that you can have is having a kid and watching them progress, but helping them progress yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm very lucky and very blessed to be able to do that, because most dads have normal jobs, 9 to 5s, and they don't get in until 6, and then they're knackered, they can't do it. Just go on the TV or play the Xbox. They spend any time with the kids whatsoever. Whereas I'm quite blessed, as I can pick my kid up from school, go straight to the gym, do the gym workout, and then we can come back and play games together. And so I get that sort of get the weekend dad role, all week,
all
it's
week,
great. Yeah,
take those moments, mate. I've got a 14. Well, she's 15 in April now, my daughter, and she's at that point where she doesn't want to fucking know me unless she needs me or wants to know me. So the other week, because she's into the same music as me, like I'm into like rap and hip hop and that. Yeah. So she started getting into that. So the other week I took her to London, her first trip to London, just me and her, to a rap gig in the O2.
Nice.
And it was like that was like the moment for me where I was like, this is kind of what I can see the time that I spend with her. This is what I need to kind of focus on to spend that time with her, because
do more of it.
Yeah, because of the other stuff that I think she wants to spend time on, going for meals and cinema. She doesn't want to do that with me. She wants to be with her friends. But then I found that moment now, so I'm just gonna. You'll see me in the O2 every fucking month, just going for trips. But yeah, that's awesome, mate. That's awesome. The swimming.
Yeah,
I remember you told me this when we filmed that you were like on the junior Olympic team. Is that right? Or
it was called the World Class Potential Squad.
Okay.
And it was basically the junior Olympic team
Yeah.
for Great Britain. I won the nationals at age 10, 11, 12 and 13.
Wow.
Set British records. I think out of all the distances you had, sorry if I'm boring people here, but you have sprinting and then you have long distance. So you have 50 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres, 400 metres, and then 1500 metres.
Yeah.
So I won all those.
Are people normally good at like one of them?
Yes. So
But you
people
just
are either
excelled.
sprinters or long distance.
Fucking
I
hell,
was
mate.
both. So I think one year I won, out of 5 events, I think I won 4 gold medals and 1 silver. I think the only one I lost was the 200 metres freestyle. Came second.
I bet
And that was
pissed
it.
you
Was a
off.
mistake.
Did it
I
piss
was in
you
the
off?
wrong group.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I'd won, and then someone after me beat me. I was like,
I bet you were pissed off with that
yeah,
one.
yeah. It was one of those things where
Yeah.
I wish if I'd just gone on like that little 1% more, I'd have won that. But you live and learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, the swimming was a massive part of my childhood.
Yeah.
From age 5 to say 13, that's all I did was swim.
And from what I've heard, you kind of got to the point where you kind of hated it towards the back end of it, just because of the approach that you were being coached in, I think, is it?
Yeah. So once I got entered into the World Class Potential Squad, you basically were lottery funded, so you were given a bit of a wage. Your coach was given funding, and then your coach was sort of drawn into their methods, and their methods were double the work, double the effort, or go home.
Right, okay, yeah.
And basically, I mean, I went from winning gold medals to then coming second, third, fourth, fifth, and it just wasn't working for me. And I remember saying to my coach, I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are we getting drawn into this? We've got to do this amount of lengths, we've got to do this amount of training, we've got to do extra. I said, we worked. What we did worked. Why change it? And he just wouldn't have it. And I think I actually met up with my coach a few months back.
Oh, yeah.
And we had this conversation. And he sort of admitted, he was like, I just got drawn in. I'm sorry. It was a load of shit. And but it ruined it for me. It became military. It became sessions where I could go, I could have a laugh, I could train hard, to just train hard.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have any conversation at the end of the pool, you couldn't have any time after. It was just, you're in there to train, get in, train, get out.
Yeah.
And it just made it so military and unenjoyable for me. And me and the coach fell out actually at the time. So
Right.
I think one session I was at the end of the pool having a conversation with a girl, and he said something to me for the umpteenth time that session.
Yeah.
I just went, you know what, fuck this, fuck you, I'm done.
And how old were you at this point?
13.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
13.
And I just got changed,
Yeah.
went home, and I never went back to that swimming club.
And that was it?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
That was
man.
it. That was the end of my swimming career.
Yeah, but solid career, but
Solid, yeah.
you were only fucking 13.
Yeah.
I had someone on a few weeks back, and she was like an Olympic diver. She'd won titles and good comps and stuff and awards, and she called it a day early just through like injury more than it. But again, she'd excelled at everything by such a young age, so that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I always hear the stories like this, and when I have people on, it's like you're always destined for something then, though, because you're doing it at that age. For it not, it could quite have easily gone a different way,
Oh, 100%,
which we'll get on to now.
I think, if I hadn't got into that World Class Potential Squad, I genuinely believe I would have been an Olympic gold medalist in swimming. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
But just that certain path that I was drawn into, fucked it. But, at the time, it's like, oh, World Class Potential Squad, money, fucking yes, I'm getting paid for this.
Golden handcuffs.
Let's do it, yeah, exactly, yeah. And it just went tits up.
And then I think it went even more tits up after that, because I think when you'd left the swimming, you kind of went on a bit of a rampage.
Yeah, and I think this comes back to the ADHD.
Yeah.
Because I stopped the swimming, everything else started to ramp up. The energy, the anxiety, And looking back now, and I know and understand exactly what happened. It's because I stopped training, that ADHD ramped up, and I started getting the anxiety attacks because I had so much energy and I didn't know what to do with it. So you just start, your body starts attacking itself. All this fight or flight, you've got all this energy pent up, and this is why people with ADHD have a lot of depression and anxiety, is because they're getting pent up, they've got nothing to do with the energy, and that's exactly what happened to me. So stop the swimming. That then made me start drinking drugs quite heavily.
At like that, at a young age
13,
as well.
yeah, heavy, yeah. That then escalated into, you know, acting out at school, which it was the sort of turn of the key to a start of events of my downfall.
Yeah.
You know, it led to me getting expelled from school. It led to me doing a lot of drinking drugs. I got a girl pregnant, and then all at that same time, my dear nan, got cancer, diagnosed with cancer. And all those things combined absolutely destroyed my head. I just didn't want to be on the planet anymore. You know, just all this energy, I didn't know what to do with it, and anxiety and depression. And of course, there's no help back then, is there?
No.
You know, you go to doctors and, oh yeah, you've got depression, we'll put you on Prozac. So I was on Prozac for 2 years. And then I actually saw a therapist towards the end, which did actually help, I'll be honest. The therapist helped. But it's such a tough time to go through back then, you know, because you even my mum be like, "What's up with you? Just cheer up."
Yeah.
And my nan, bless her, the only person on this planet who I looked up to, who I could never think bad of, was just sat me down like, "Come on, what's up with you? Cheer. What are you depressed about?
Good old-fashioned
just cheer
chat.
up." And it's like, fuck, nobody got it.
Yeah.
Nobody understood what was going on in it. It was such a lonely, horrible time in my life.
I can imagine, mate, at that age as well. And then you probably feel, because even when you're 13, 14, 15, you already feel like everyone's a cunt anyway that's older than you when they're trying to talk to you about stuff. So when you're feeling like that, and then they're trying to be like talking to you about stuff, you're probably thinking, fuck this shit.
Oh, it was unreal, man. And school friends at school were a nightmare. I think I had a really bad, I've got to be careful how you say this, haven't you? But I had a really bad bunch of people around me.
Right.
And I think, and again, hindsight's a great thing, but I look back and I'd say there's probably one person, perhaps two people in my group of friends that I could trust. There was a lot of, like, you know, you'd be going out with a girl and then 2 weeks later you'd hear one of your mates has shagged her behind your back. And it happens, doesn't it?
It's in the like small towns as well, isn't it?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But to me, it was so, I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, these are my mates. And I'd be like, what's going on, mate? Oh, well, you know, just felt like it. It's funny, innit? And it's like, well, that's my life. You know what I mean? It's not, is it? So yeah, that group of friends I had from school, I completely distanced myself. So not only was I going through all the depression, the anxiety, being expelled from school, being chucked off the swimming squad or leaving the swimming squad, now having cancer, I had no fucking friends.
Oh man,
so it was fucking just, lonely. It was horrible.
Even though you were like obviously expelled from school, you were still excelling at subjects in school. Yes,
so it's a very weird one. So I was expelled from school at 14, and I ended up being home tutored, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I went from being the class clown and learning absolutely nothing to being in my home and someone coming and sitting down with me, and I couldn't misbehave.
Yeah,
you know, it's just me and a teacher. So I had to learn, and that's when I started to excel. Like, everything came up: my English, my maths, my science, absolutely nailed everything. The only thing that restricted me was that because I wasn't in school, I was basically restricted as to what grades I could get.
Yeah.
So, for instance, some of the English homework that you get graded for your GCSEs, I couldn't do because I wasn't allowed to be given the homework.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was already restricted as to what I could do. So, for instance, maths, my top grade I could have got was B, and my tutor was like, "You're capable of an A. Why are they not putting you in for an A?" And it's like, well, because the maths teacher fucking hates me, so so he's not going to put me in for an A.
Yeah.
So I went in school, I got a B in maths, knowing full well I was capable of getting an A. And I got C's in English, C's in science. I wasn't allowed to take IT. I wasn't allowed to take the PE. I wasn't allowed to take X, Y, and Z. So I think I walked away with like 6 GCSEs A to C.
Which is a good result.
Which is good. And I remember I was actually allowed to go into my school to pick up the results.
Yeah.
And I remember a few of the so I call them pals, who weren't pals.
Yeah.
A few of the lads in my year were like, "Oh, what'd you get?" And I told them. And they're like, "How the fuck have you done that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "'Cause I'm fucking clever, mate." What else do you want me to say? You know,
Tough for the
fucking
top,
clever. But seriously, I think I got some of the best grades in the year.
Yeah.
Like in the top 10% of the whole
I
year.
bet the teachers were scratching their fucking heads because they were like, obviously they knew what you were like in school, but they probably saw that you were intelligent, but you just obviously.
I was just a twat.
You were just a twat.
I was just a twat. I was the kid in school. If there's something you shouldn't be doing,
Yeah.
I'd do it. Something you shouldn't say, I'd say it. I think the final straw, I got in trouble a lot for getting my dick out at school, for swinging my dick around loads of times. But I think the final straw was there was a bully in the school. Chris Brown, his name was. I'll say his name because he's a fucking prick.
Is he still around?
He's still around.
Yeah.
He's in. Get this right. He's in prison for bumming a 13-year-old boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So fuck you, Chris Brown.
You know, mate. Yeah, fuck you, Chris Brown.
So this Chris Brown was a bit of a bully in the year. And I said, and he kept picking on my mates. And he smacked one of my mates one day. And I said to him, "All right, mate." It was snowing at the time. So I said, "Right, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to go up to him. You're going to smash a snowball in his face. And then you're going to run into those trees right there. And I'll be waiting." So he did it. He threw the snowball, run into the woods. Lo and behold, I was there. Bang. Knocked his front teeth out. And that was it. That was me. That was the final straw.
That was the final. Worth it though.
Worth it. 100% worth
Yeah.
it. Now I know what the guy is actually
yeah,
like.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad I fucking did that.
Yeah.
And the teacher should be glad I did that as well.
Fucking right. Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go.
That's class. I think you, from like obviously what you've said and that, you had a lot of life experiences by a young age. You know, obviously through like home life, the school life, the depression and everything as a young child as well. When you left swimming, you found training. From what I understand, obviously I'm telling your own story here, but
Yeah, yeah.
I've done my research. So, what was that like an instant thing where you like walked in a gym and you were like, "Fucking yeah, this is me"?
It was a weird one because obviously the swimming had gone downhill.
Yeah.
I was expelled from school. And the tutoring, I'd only have an hour, 2 hours of tutoring a day. So I had a lot of spare time.
Yeah,
And it was my mum and dad. This is, bear in mind, I didn't leave the house much because or if I did, it was only to go out and get pissed or do drugs.
yeah,
So it was my mum and dad that sat me down one day. I'd been expelled from school for like a year and a half, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, you're just sitting around wanking all day. Like, you don't leave the house. You're not doing it. Like, go and fucking do something.
Yeah.
Just go out and do something." So I went. So they joined me. Mum actually, bless her, paid for me to join the local gym. And it was a big leisure centre. And I started at 14 years of age, started to go to the gym and lift weights in the daytime. So when my mates were at school, I was in the gym pumping iron.
fucking hell.
And I sort of met a few people in there, good friends actually. And we're talking guys in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s.
Okay.
Old bodybuilders, old powerlifters, people that have been doing it for 40, 50 years, lifting weights, took me under the wing. And I'm in the weight section. I'm training with guys in the 40s and 50s, doing shoulders and biceps and training my legs and
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoying this time of building my body. And that's where it sort of started.
Yeah.
And I had this envision of becoming the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Automatically, because I'm obviously a swimming background, I had such a huge stature of a
Yeah.
body. Maybe
Yeah.
you can put a picture to the screen now.
Yeah,
A picture of
definitely,
me
yeah.
when I'm like 13, 14 years of age. Just huge. Just massive shoulders, six-pack, big chest. So I had a great base, and I just started to blow up so quick. At
Yeah.
16 years old, I was 16 stone in body weight, and I had no body fat on me whatsoever. I was just tanked.
Yeah.
Absolutely tanked. And I guess the best thing about that started my lifting career.
Yeah.
But the best thing about that was the advice that I was getting off these blokes, these guys that had lived their lives. We're talking pensioners that have had houses, had relationships, had marriages, failed marriages, lost houses, lost jobs. These guys filled me with wisdom, sat in the sauna with them after training, fucking filling me with wisdom. And I guess one of the best takeaways from those people was money. how
Okay.
important money is, how important it is to get your financials in place as early as you possibly can. And every single one of them said, don't pay into a pension. And I'm sat there and I'm like, but my mum and dad pay into
It's
a
like the
pension.
standard thing to do.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's like, don't pay. It's like, well, what do you do when you retire? You know, buy a house. First thing, as soon as you fucking can, buy a house. Instead of putting your money in a pension, put it into a house. And to me at the time, again, we're just living in a society of, we're sheep, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we like your parents, their parents, get a 9-to-5 job, work till you're 60, 65, 70, got a pension, then retire. That was like the normal. And if
Yeah.
you break that mould, it's like, what?
Yeah.
So they're telling me to buy a house as soon as I possibly can. And that just imprinted on me. It was like, right, that's the first thing I'm going to do. As soon as I'm able to, I'm going to buy a house. And taking that wisdom into getting a job at 16, I was had a few jobs. I ended up being a roofer during the summer,
Yeah.
and then I landed an apprenticeship later in like September, that like when on my 16th year, and I landed an apprenticeship as a mechanic, and yeah, got quite a decent wage as an apprentice, and obviously working the doors as well from age. Just before I was 17, I started working the doors, which is, you're not meant to start till you're 18.
But you were an absolute unit, probably.
Exactly.
wasn't it?
I was just
So-
that big. I didn't
Yeah.
have a door badge or anything. But it was like, you can fucking work here, sure you can. And I just ploughed all my money in the bank, just saved every penny. Quite lucky, and I guess a lot of people, I hope, have this off their parents. Is my parents supported me in that way. As I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to put any money in towards food or anything, so I just lived there rent-free, ate my food, worked my bollocks off, saved up all my pennies, and just after my 18th birthday, I bought my first house. And then a year later, just after my 19th birthday, I bought my second house, and so on and so on and so on. So that wisdom I got from going to the gym at 13, 14 just set me up for life. Again, and I'm not proud of being expelled from school, but imagine if I hadn't have been expelled from school, where I would be.
Especially with your group of friends or the boys that kind of were around you.
Exactly, yeah. All those fuckers just like, oh, I can't wait to get a 9-to-5 job. I can't wait to spunk my money up the wall every weekend. Can't, you know, I'm going to pay into a pension until I'm 70 and fucking live the rest of my life as a king. That mindset sailed way, way far away from where I was in the gym. They were in school, learning the GCSEs. I was learning how to live my life. And that I believe that's what set me up properly.
And it's mad because obviously you grew up and, like you said, you didn't have much money as a family, but then all of a sudden you had money. And normally what people would do in that instance is because they've got money, they start fucking living the dream and spending it. But you still, obviously, through the guys that you were speaking to in the saunas and that, put it away, put it away.
It was quite weird because I had this mindset of I just want to buy a house as quickly as possible, save up every single penny that I earn. So, I mean, obviously I was working in the town at 16 on the doors and clubs and everything. And then by the time I was 18, all my mates started showing up because they started looking their age. And that's when I really sort of realised I'm sort of really separating myself from the rest here. Because I was there working 50 hours a week and doing the doors. And I'm there, standing there, earning £16 an hour at 17, 18, you know, in charge of people. My mates are coming in and pissing the wages up the wall. And I saw it every weekend. The same people coming in every single weekend. And they'd have no money left. They'd be at the end of the night, but I haven't even got money for a cab home, I'll give you a lift. You know, then that's the difference.
You could see the difference between your life and theirs,
It was black and white. It was night and day. You know, it was massive, the difference.
You're you mentioned about obviously working the doors. I'm sure you got some stories from the doors days, especially around Stoke. You know, like the people that are obviously local. Because you are this person now up there, and some of the situations you got to in the doors, do you find there's any like animosity to you locally from, like, I'm not talking from the general public, but like some of the dickheads that you probably run into on the doors 100%. In situations?
100%. I still hear stories now of people going into pubs. I'll get phone calls from mates. So there's a bloke in the pub here said he knocked you out down the town when he was fucking 21. I'm like, okay, mate, it's water on a duck's back.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, of course he did, mate. I've never been knocked out down the town in my life, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stories. There's some horrible stories.
I don't want to incriminate you in any way, mate.
This is the thing. I'm just incriminating myself if I were to say anything.
Yeah.
But there's been some nasty, very, very nasty incidents.
Yeah.
A lot of scars to prove it. There's not really much I can talk about.
No.
Nah.
We leave it there.
I mean, and that's part, especially back then, because working the doors back then, there wasn't such a thing as you can't touch the punter.
Yeah, okay.
You know, if someone's misbehaving, you would always come to them civilly.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's any sort of retaliation, there'd be no hesitation. You just smash them in the face.
Standard.
And drag them down the alleyway and smash them in again.
You can't do that these days.
Can you, heck?
No.
Well, that was the way it was done.
Yeah.
When I was 18, it was just smash them in the face.
And again, those situations only just added to the person that you were becoming. Moving into the training, naturally strong. How strong are we talking?
Ridiculous. And I think it's mainly from the swimming background as to why I was so super strong at such a young age, and the fitness as well. You know, having big lungs and a big heart from the swimming made lifting weights so much easier. Everyone would be gassing out around me, and you know, couldn't do that. I'd just carry on. It wouldn't even faze me. It's really, I reckon it's going to shut down now. I'll finish this and then we'll move inside of it. But I remember at 17, been training for a couple of years, and one of the guys I was training with, big black guy, he's dead now, he was a big bodybuilder guy, and he sort of put me through the paces. You know, all right, let's find out how strong you are. Let's do a squat, bench, deadlift. And I remember my first ever big bench press at 17 was 4 plates aside, so 180 kilo.
Yeah.
Deadlifting 300. And I think my squat was something like 300, 280, 300, something like that. It was, you know, it was pretty ridiculous.
And this wasn't coming from like the guys obviously they were influencing how you were training, but I think this was just brute honest strength, wasn't it? Like
it was, yeah. It was just raw. It
wasn't like technique kind of thing.
No, there's no technique whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know, it'd be a bent back. The squats would be legs would be all over the place. The bench press would be different grip.
Yeah,
you know, it was just completely raw. It was stupid strength, really. But I think the thing that separated me a lot from the rest in that respect is, yes, my numbers were big on that, but the stuff like my shoulder press. You know, at 17, I was able to shoulder press 60 kilo dumbbells.
Jesus.
You know, for 10 reps.
Yeah.
And like, you got guys in the gym that have been trained for 30 years looking over like, what the fuck is this guy on? You know.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So it was the other things that separated me in that respect, like dumbbell curling 50 kilos.
Wow.
You know, just obviously like George of the Jungle Tarzan, but swinging them up, but getting them up.
Yeah.
You know, clean and jerking, getting 140 kilo above me head on a bar, just from the floor to me overhead. Just stupid, just ridiculous stuff. So strong. Like a
phenom, isn't it?
Yeah.
like a phenom. I can just imagine what the guys in the gym would actually look like fucking saying. So obviously we won't go into too much because I don't want to keep too much of your time, but that obviously excelled then in terms of your strength, your training, etc., and realising how strong you were, and then you obviously started going into like competitions, etc. And I hear the story that your first like strongman competition, I think this is the moment, personally, I think this is the moment that has like paved the rest of your life. After your first competition, you put a status out there on Facebook saying, I'm going to win World's Strongest Man. And I think that moment of you doing that comp and how you felt after to write that status was like that catalyst for the rest of you to take you to today.
Yeah, so when I was 19, and it was actually my middle brother James who entered me in a strongman contest, saw the numbers I was doing. He's like, mate, you've got to do something with this. It's ridiculous. Entered the competition with like 40 men. That's maybe not. Maybe it's like 20 guys, but these are like big guys, you know, older guys. And I came fourth out of this competition. My very first strongman comp. Never touched a log press, never pulled a truck, never ever flipped a tyre, never ran with a barrel. Came fourth. Never done any strongman training before in my life. And I just knew, as soon as I finished that comp, I just knew, like, this is what I'm destined to do. This is it. Yeah. And I went back, I've done my first strongman contest today, came fourth. I can't remember I actually looked back for the post. I looked back for it some years ago and it was there. It's gone now for some reason.
Right.
Well, I wrote on there, I'm going to win World's Strongest Man one day. Watch this space.
Yeah.
And that was on I've got a screenshot of it. It's on my status on Facebook.
Yeah.
And fuck me, man, the giggles and the laugh from people, from family, from friends, obviously working down the town.
Yeah.
People coming up to me like, mate, you're never going to win World's Strongest
Man.
You've seen the size of them fucking guys. Like, wake up. You know, it was just like the negativity on the back of that was unreal. But I thrived in that. I absolutely thrived. I loved people saying that shit to me because it just spurred me on to, like, right, I'm fucking going for this. I'm going to prove these fuckers wrong.
Yeah.
So in ways, negativity is a weird thing in life. Some people can really let it get to them and accept it and be like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to do that. But I dwelled in it. I thrived in pressure, in negativity. It really did make me excel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you putting these things out there has been like a staple thing you've done throughout your career then, obviously, as you've gone through the comps and to bigger comps and competing against bigger competitors. Because I think in my notes, you even put that out there when you did your first like World's Strongest Man, you were walking around like fucking Conor McGregor.
I was.
Putting your shit out there.
So get this, my very first UK Strongest Man, so that's like probably the biggest comp to date. You know, won England's twice, and 2011, sorry. So I won England's twice, and then I got because I won England's the second time, it qualified me for the UK Strongest Man, and that was basically the best in Britain. And the week before, bear in mind I'd never competed there before, I'd never seen any of the guys, didn't know who I was going up against. I put a status on, I cannot wait until next week when I win UK Strongest Man. That's honestly, I put it up.
Yeah.
And the comment section was just full of the other strongmen that I was obviously competing against. And this is the first time I've seen the names.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking hell, mate. No, you're not. No chance. I'm winning this.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I think it was my partner at the time. I was like, look at this. It was Alex, sorry. I was like, look at this. I said, I've already won. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm already in the Reds.
Yeah.
I've already won it. I've won it. Because they're already fucking panicking about it. If they were that confident about their performance, they wouldn't have to say anything.
They just ignore it.
Just ignore it, wouldn't
you?
And I said, that's just proved my point. I've already got in the Reds. I've already won the comp. And I went and I fucking won it. And it was, I was hated for that. I could sense the hatred from the other athletes. It's quite... A few of the guys have talked about it with me, you know, since.
Yeah.
But I was hated.
I suppose you've become friends with a lot of those guys now, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. There's one guy, 𝘗𝘳𝘰𝘶𝘥𝘭𝘺. He came second. And I'll never forget, I put that last Atlas stone up and I turned to the camera and said, I am Sparta. That was like my brand at the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I could just see him in the background just looking at me going, fucking prick.
I bet they hated you, mate.
And he ended up helping with the equipment at World's Strongest Man some years later, and we had a little chat about it. He's like, you know what, I fucking hated you, but fair play to you. You did exactly what you were going to say, and you got in everyone's head, so fair play.
Yeah.
And we're, you know, good pals with Ken now.
Yeah, I guess that's where you build your relationships, obviously going against these guys. And I think, I mean, you're obviously friends with them, even the guys that you're competing against, you're probably friends with them outside of the comps, but then when you're in the comp, it's like, game on, they got to be your worst enemy, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's some out there that still hate my guts, which is it's always going to happen. But end of the day, I was in the sport to become the world's strongest man. I wasn't in the sport to make friends. So you know, and that's what I was there to do. I didn't. And it's water again. It's water on a duck's back.
Yeah.
And I'd see statuses. I'd hear people talking. Oh, he's a fucking dick. He's arrogant. He's this. He's that. Okay. I'm going to win world's strongest man. I don't give a fuck what you say. You know, and that was my attitude.
Yeah.
Just did not care.
And again, that's come from your upbringing, mate. From what you've been through, and it's like, fuck it, I'm doing this for me and what way I can see myself going. Yeah, that's quality, man. You had some health issues going into the title?
World's strongest man.
World's strongest man?
I did.
What was that like to deal with?
So, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
So the week before Europe's Strongest Man 2017, and that's the That's probably one of the most intense nights of competition I've ever had in my life for a lot of people. It was basically me versus Thor at Europe's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And the week before, I was sat on the couch and I just felt my heart rate creeping up, and you start getting a bit dizziness, and I'm like, fuck, you know, I'm going to go to bed. Like, I just feel bad. I'm going to get a good night's sleep. I'll be fine in the morning. Get in bed, cannot get a wink of sleep. We're getting to like 1 o'clock in the morning. I thought something's not right. I'm checking my heart. It's going, oh, fuck. So I go downstairs. I've got all the pulsometers. I put the pulsometer on, put the blood pressure machine on, check everything. My heart rate is 150 beats per minute.
Oh shit!
Just sat in a chair.
Just your resting
Just
heart
resting.
rate.
So I'm like, this is bad. So I get Alex down, call an ambulance. An ambulance comes out. They do an ECG, and I don't know how they work it out, but the ECG basically said I had potassium poisoning. So you have too much potassium, and because I was so dehydrated, that's like a running joke. Because I was so dehydrated, I was drinking copious amounts of coconut water.
Yeah.
And we're talking, you know, instead of drinking water, I was drinking coconut water. We're talking 8 to 10 litres a day of coconut water.
Jesus.
Coconut water is very high in potassium. So I actually poisoned myself through coconut water. Yeah. And it put a really bad, really spooked me. Really spooked me. And this was like a week before.
A week before as well. I bet your head was falling
off. obviously, so they said to me, look, we can take you in, or you can stay at home and just drink lots of water. It'll probably pass. And they're like, but I really suggest you go in. Like, this is not good. Like, this is heart attack territory. So, obviously at the time, I'm going in for World's Strongest Man. I said, look, I'll go in, but I want my own private room, because if I get pictured in there with heart stuff on, I said, I'll be fucked. Like, it'll be in the papers. Like, everyone will just ridicule me. It's like, I won't be allowed to compete at World's Strongest Man. So there's a lot riding on it. And she made some calls. I'm like, no, the matron won't give you your own room. And I'm like, well, I can't go in then. So I had to sit at home till like 7 o'clock in the morning, just drinking water, watching TV, and it just gradually came back down to normal. And I went to bed, and I was fine the next day, you know, the following day after that.
Yeah.
The next day, I had a medical for World's Strongest Man.
Oh, okay, yep.
So this was the Monday. And for the medical, they do ECG, check your blood pressure, do some bloods, all that kind of thing. And I failed ECG.
Oh, shit.
Not on the potassium, just an irregular heartbeat, some kind of, I don't know, some deviation in the bottom beat or something. So the doctor at World's Strongest Man said, you can't compete at World's Strongest Man. And I'm devastated. I'm like, fuck.
This is like, what, 6 days before?
This is before Europe's, but this is 5 weeks out from World's Strongest Man.
Okay.
So I then have to go and get full ecograms, like get heart scans, get all checked out. And the waiting period for this is like 2 weeks. So I do the scan. It's that results in 2 weeks. So I'm just like fucking panicking in my head.
Wow, yeah.
So I had to go compete at Europe's Strongest Man, having nearly had a heart attack, with a failed ECG, and have one of the most fierce competitions of my life in one night. You know, like push my body to the absolute fucking brink to try and beat Thor. And he beat me by 1 point in the end. Very frustrating, because there was a few things that went wrong that weren't in my control that affected the result of that competition. I won't get into that because you just sound like a sore loser. But
Politics.
Politics, yes.
We leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And then going into World's Strongest Man, obviously 3 weeks before, I got the pass to, you've passed, you can compete. Okay. And then there's also, I don't know if you read up about that, I had a lot of trouble with my marriage at the time, with my current wife.
Right. Was it just because you were devoting so much time to the
I was
comps?
Obsessed.
Yeah.
I was absolutely obsessed. You've got to think how intense this lead up was to this World's Strongest Man. So from 2015 is when I quit my job.
Yeah.
And that's when I became military. Like, it was wake up, eat my food, stretch, eat more food, go to sleep, eat more food, go to sleep. And then go training, stretch, do hydro, do hot cold treatment, go in the hyperbaric chamber. It was literally from 7 in the morning until midnight every single day. I was strongman.
Yeah.
I saw my wife and kids for an hour a week if I was lucky, and that's been really serious.
Oh man, yeah.
An hour a week. So I just had no time whatsoever with my wife and kids at all. That put a massive strain on the marriage.
Yes.
Massively. And obviously as I got closer, I got more and more anchored in, more zoned in, and more zoned out from the family. And it was just after Europe's Strongest Man, my wife had just had enough. You know, she was just like, I can't do this anymore. You've done this for years now. I can't. You keep making this promise it's going to go away, you're going to win, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I basically said, fuck off then. As harsh as that is, I said, I can't deal with this. I can't have this in my life.
Yeah.
I can't be thinking about this when I'm going into World's Strongest Man. I said, the best thing you can do is fuck off, go and live with your dad or sister, and I will fix this after I've won the World's Strongest Man. And she gave me that. She said, fine, but you better fucking win. And that, yeah, so there was a lot riding. So literally it wasn't just winning the World's Strongest Man that was riding on it, it was my marriage was riding on it. So that, going into World's Strongest Man, but at least I had the peace of mind, and I was confident enough to knowing I can go in, I can win this, and then I can fix my marriage.
There's a lot of pressure there though, isn't there?
Well, as I say, I thrive in pressure.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind the pressure. What would have fucked me up is if we'd have fell out.
Yeah.
And, you know, been arguing.
Yeah.
You know, I flew out there and she hated me and I hated her. That would have fucked me. Then I wouldn't have won. Because if things aren't good at home, you can't compete.
No,
You've got to be happy to be good at your sport. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy that. Mm-hmm. What if you didn't win?
Well, I wouldn't be married now.
No.
No.
Would you still be going at it?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Now I'm just turned 36.
What's the kind of like lifespan of a strongman? I mean, obviously they can keep going till they keep going, but
I think there's different angles to it. I think the human body peaks at very early 30s.
Yeah.
Like 32, 33. I think the human body peaks in strength around then.
Yeah.
But I think in order to beat the Brian Shaws and the Thors, I had to push my body to the absolute limits.
Yeah.
I think a lot sooner than that. I mean, going into World's Strongest Man, I was 196 kilos in body weight, which is like 31 and a bit stone. 430 pounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's
433 pounds I weighed.
Wow. And that's when you had the little heart thing going on.
Yeah.
So 430 pounds with that heart thing going on.
Yeah. So imagine that. Imagine being that size and the doctor sitting you down and it's like, it's not good.
No.
Like, you got to put it on paper. Right, you've got people at risk that are like 20 stone, that are like 260 pound guys that are at risk of having heart attack and stroke. That's like, you know, getting towards that 300 pound mark, you are a big risk factor to heart attack and stroke.
Yeah.
I said, here's 10 of my clients in that range, and look at the blood pressure, look at the blood markers. They've got blood like jelly, you know.
Yeah.
The blood pressure's through the roof, and then you're here.
You're like, you know, 100 odd pound on top.
You're 200 pounds more.
200 pounds more, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Than an unfit guy, you know. So he said, you put it on paper, you are statistically, if anyone in the country right now is going to have a heart attack or a stroke, statistically, you're the number one risk.
Man.
Of all the humans in the UK, you are the biggest risk right now. And it's like, and he said that you've got to stop right now.
Yeah.
You're going to die. You've got to stop. So I had that on my mind. But I think what really helped me get me through it was A, the marriage pressure.
Yeah.
B, the health pressure. And it was almost as if the pressure was off, because it was like all a bust. It was like, I'm going to win the World's Strongest Man, I'm going to fucking die trying. It's like a suicide almost. It was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm either going to win World's Strongest Man, or else, otherwise I don't fucking care what happens to me. So it was like a suicide mission, but it was like a no fucks given. It was like, I'm going to go for this no matter what. If I have a fucking heart attack and die, I'm putting that last Atlas stone up. fuck it. I've won the world's strongest man.
I think I've just got my title for this podcast, Win or Die Trying.
That's
You're basically 50 Cent, mate. Fucking hell, yeah, that's mad, that. I can't even imagine. I don't even want to try and imagine what that felt like, mate. Because
it wasn't nice. I think at some points, especially that last 5 weeks, every single night I went to bed, I genuinely didn't think I was going to wake up. And that's been sincere. I was like, I'd like say a prayer before I go to sleep. You know, like this is my last night. Well, I slept like a baby.
Did you have to use what's it called? Do you have sleep apnea?
Yeah, the CPAP. So I had to sleep with a machine. It also adds to the stress and strain of it all.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to touch on something which is a stigma topic, and you can go into it with as much detail as you want, because I put a Q&A out on the story, and this question came up a lot. So I just want to ask the question, but you can go whichever way you want to go with it. And that is, obviously I get a lot of bodybuilders on you. We know there's PEDs involved in that. It doesn't seem to be as much of a stigma around PEDs in strongman. What's your views, or kind of like your input on PEDs within strongman? Because obviously that it's in every sport, but you don't really hear of it. Obviously with bodybuilding you hear it a lot. It's like the number one fucking topic everyone talks about.
Yeah, of course.
Strongman, you don't seem. I mean, behind the scenes you might talk about it, but not out there in the world.
I'll say it goes on. I'll say that it is a dangerous thing, and I think it is well abused within the strongman sport. Probably, in some ways, more than bodybuilding at the very, very top.
Yeah.
I guess it's down to each individual person as to what risks they're willing to take.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. What are you willing to give to be the best? World's Strongest Man's tested.
Okay.
So, but as we know, like any sport, there's ways around things.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I think there's a bad stigma on it in the UK. US don't really give a shit.
Okay.
But I think in the UK there's a bad stigma on it. I think if it's used safely and with knowledge, it's completely fine, completely safe. Like you say, you just I mean, I've heard it with my own ears, what people do in the gym and what people take, and it's just like, fucking hell, like, how are you still here? You know? Yeah. So that's all I'm willing to say on it, really.
That's cool, man.
It happens, it goes on.
Yeah.
It's what you're willing to give your life to be the best and do what you want to do.
It's that risk versus reward, isn't it?
Risk versus reward, exactly that.
The problem we've got is, like, it's a bit contradictory of me saying it, because I think there's people out there that aren't nowhere near the reward, but taking much more of a risk with it. But at the same time, like, you know, that could be that person could be who you were when you were 16, 17, putting that out there, saying, I'm going to win fucking World's Strongest Man. And who's anyone to say? Because, like you said, it's up to that person if their choices.
And that's no one else's business.
No, it's not.
You know, if someone wants to do that to themselves, let them crack on. It's nothing to do with you. And you know, no one's forcing it into you.
No.
No one's making you do anything. So let them crack on.
I think the key thing to take from it is, like, education. You know, education and really look at what the reward is.
Yeah, 100%.
The level of the reward.
I work with a hormone doctor now. And my hormones are absolutely perfect. Like, my testosterone levels are spot on. Estrogen levels are spot on. My blood work's spot on. And I've never, ever felt better in my life.
Yeah.
So there is a place for it. It's and there's no doubt in my mind that you can add years to your lifespan with it. You know, I think the people that are against it, massively against it, and the people that boo-boo it and don't even want to mention the word in conversation. Yeah, those are the people that are going to get old and wither and end up in wheelchairs, shitting and pissing themselves. That's the truth. Yeah, that is the truth. The people that want to educate themselves and know what it does for the human body, how good it is for the human body, they're the people that are going to live to the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Still walking around and lifting stuff up, lifting the great grandkids up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You use it how it needs to be used. Isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
definitely.
That's good, man. That's very good. How heavy are you now?
I'm currently 160 kilos, so about I think it's 360 pounds. I think.
Yeah.
There
But
we
you're
go.
feeling like,
Feel great.
Feel
I'm
great.
fit as a fiddle.
yeah. I
Yeah.
suppose when you've been at that fucking peak body weight
Yeah,
to
jeez.
now, you probably feel a million
Oh
fucking
man,
pounds.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can run a mile in 9 minutes. You know, I can do MMA. I can train five rounds of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I swim. You know,
Yeah.
I swim a mile twice a week.
Still good swimmer?
Still a good swimmer.
Yeah.
Still a very good swimmer.
What's
And-
next for you then, mate? Because obviously you've just listed, like, this was going to be one of the things I wanted to come on to, but like, you've listed MMA, you've listed MMA, you've listed the swimming.
Yeah.
Obviously we've done strongman tick. I know you've dabbled with the bodybuilding. Like, what's obviously the MMA sounds like it might be a bit more of a focus right now.
Yeah.
In terms of what you're doing as your thing.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's something I want to get into.
Yeah.
Not professionally, but it's I'm enjoying the training, and I think for where I'm at in my life, it's a good thing to get into. The money is astronomical when you land those big contracts. You know, even for me, it's life-changing money.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Why not? You know,
Yeah.
you're not hurting anyone.
Can you
and
see potential in it? Can you see potential in it for you?
Not professionally, no chance.
But
no,
but
no.
to earn like
Oh,
coin,
yeah, to earn.
coin.
Yeah.
That's what we care about, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Ultimately.
I mean, this fight contract that fell through,
Yeah.
the contract was for 20 million, and that was from the Qatari government.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? And that's setting your family up for generations.
Yeah.
How can you turn that money down?
Yeah.
I wasn't interested. Seriously, I was just quite happy doing my bodybuilding and
Yeah.
doing my YouTube and Facebook content. And my agent rung me up. Oh, I've got this Qatari government official reached out. Wants you to do an MMA fight. I'm not bothered. Fuck off. Tell him fuck off.
Yeah.
She said, well, it's 8 figures, and I'm like, okay, I'm in.
figures, like-
Yeah, I was like, I'm in. Like, no question. I'm doing it.
That's
eight figures.
incredible.
Like, yeah, I'm doing it. Fucking damn right.
Yeah.
How can you turn that
Why
down?
not? Why the fuck not? And while you
Exactly.
can as well. While you can.
Yeah, exactly. Why you can?
While you can, man.
5, 6 years from now, I might not be able to.
Mate, I'm going through it myself personally. Like, I'm doing things. I've been fucking all over the shop mentally, and I'm like, I just gotta fucking do it while I can right now. So, yeah, why the fuck not? That's mad money. That's mad money. Do you need anyone to help you with content over there, mate? Because I know a guy. Right, moving on to the Beast brand then. You've said throughout your career now, obviously, you've had this persona. And I first heard this, or like, when I was helping someone else with content, was Jamie Joel Giant.
Yeah.
And I think he used yourself as a bit of someone that has created a persona, obviously the Beast,
Yeah.
the Giant. And I think you might have advised him on it, you know, in terms of like building this brand, this persona, this character within an industry, because I think in bodybuilding they haven't really got it, because I think that everyone's just so serious about it. But Jamie, obviously we both know him well, and he's a nice guy, and he's got a good personality, so I think it worked for him building his brand as the Giant. So was that something you consciously have developed over the years in terms of building the Beast brand?
100%. I knew from the day one you've got to have a brand.
Yeah.
So I think from age 20 I called myself the Spartan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I've got the Spartan tattooed on my back, and that was my brand. And then I guess coming up the ranks through strongman and getting more and more known wasn't really kicking off. It wasn't really catching, you know what I mean? And then out in Australia I did a world record deadlift in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And the Arnold himself and the commentator Colin Bryce called me the Beast. Now, that lift went viral. In football, so it did the rounds around the whole world, pulling a world record with Arnold Schwarzenegger stood there, shouting in my ear, and in the papers and the articles and everything all over the world, it wasn't Eddie Hall pulls world record deadlift in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Beast
Yeah.
pulls the world record deadlift in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was just like,
There it is.
There it is. Got the tattoo. Literally a month later, got the tattoo on my arm. So that's it, I'm the Beast. Fuck it. That's the brand.
Yeah.
And that's stuck. And it's got to the point now where I walk down the street, I go to supermarkets, I could go to America, anywhere in the world. And I never hear, there's Eddie Hall. It's always kids or grandmas or mums and dad. There's the Beast.
The Beast.
It's the brand.
Superhero, mate.
It's more known than my actual name.
Yeah.
The Beast.
Yeah.
I've got kids' books coming out, cartoons. I built the Beast Farm brand.
Yeah.
It's just, fuck it. You've got to capitalise on this.
Yeah.
And when I won the World's Strongest Man, the Beast brand has been in and out of different companies.
Okay.
It's not been utilised, but it's been in and out of different companies, different methods, books and whatever else.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky, just this last few years, just got into the financial position where I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to go for this. Beast Farm, kids' books, just start really ramping it up, getting into films. In the films, they're going to use my name as the Beast.
Nice.
In films, it's not going to be he's Franco or whatever. It's Beast.
Beast.
I'm working with some big actors as well.
Yeah.
So,
any exclusives for the Beautiful Struggle podcast?
I can't. No, I'm sorry, I can't.
These superstars. I don't know.
I wish I could, man. I can't.
Oh, that's awesome, though, man. That's awesome for you to be even like rubbing shoulders with these people. And you said, I think I heard with your boy you got like Beast Junior as well, is it? Yeah, Beast Junior. That's quality. Did you? So, what? Like you said, you knew from day one you wanted to build this Beast brand. But what made you think? What made you like? I need to be a brand. What was there? Someone around you that kind of pointed you to that, or did you just? I need to be.
Just eyes and ears.
Eyes and ears.
Because I've seen so many people win the World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And do nothing with it. I know people that have won the World's Strongest Man and gone back to normal jobs.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what a fucking waste. Like, if you built a brand around that, you'd be multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw from very early on. It's like, you've got to build a brand, so when you do win that World's Strongest Man title, you ride that fucking wave.
Ride the wave, yeah.
And I have done. I've rode it.
You've definitely right.
I've rode it harder than anyone.
You've rinsed it.
I have.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. You touched on Arnie there. While I reset this camera, I'm going to just carry on talking. You touched on Arnie, and when we shot together, when I was covering for Hannah, you were shooting some stuff, the Terminator scene.
Yeah.
I think it was something like When Eddie Met Arnie, or was it?
So it's a documentary still being done.
Still being done. I've
Still
always
being done.
wanted to ask you what's
5
happening.
years on. 6 years on nearly.
Fuck, no.
Taming the Beast.
Yeah.
Documentary coming out later this year, actually.
Okay. Is that an exclusive?
No, I can talk about that a bit.
Sound.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically a documentary picking up from... Because the last documentary went up to World's Strongest Man. And sort of cut off, and it left the question mark of what happens to Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
This one sort of picks up from there. Like, I win the World's Strongest Man. I achieve my childhood dream of becoming the World's Strongest Man. But what next? And that's what this documentary is about. It's life after success. Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's well documented that Olympians and world champions that have been to the top, that journey back down can be fucking hard on the head.
Trying to find your way.
Find your way, I guess. I can honestly say this. I've never felt such euphoria when I won the World's Strongest. When I got handed that trophy, the euphoria took over. I was just so fucking happy.
Yeah.
I went into this mesmerising world of, that's it, I've done it. I was like the happiest person on planet Earth. Went home, celebrated. It was just like the best feeling ever. And then you start doing the TV shows and the fucking all the endorsements, and just slowly back down to earth. And I think that's a tough thing to take. It's really fucking tough because you can't. It's like a drug. It's like cocaine.
Yeah.
The first time you do cocaine, so I've heard.
So if you
So I've heard.
Disclaimer.
First time you take it, you get this massive rush of euphoria. Like you feel like God himself. Like you're untouchable. And that's why people get addicted, because you come down and then you want it again.
Yeah.
But you never get it the same as that first time you ever take cocaine. It's like magic. It's like life's a drug.
Yeah.
You're always chasing that euphoric feelings, and I've never had that since. And I guess that's a real hard mental battle of coming back down to reality, coming back from World's Strongest Man to you know, doing the dishes and whatever else, you know, normal shit.
You do the dishes, do more than me.
It's hard. It's a hard adjustment.
Yeah,
it's a hard adjustment.
I can imagine.
So it's been and that's what the film is basically. It's the downs after that, because there's a lot of downs.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the highs. A few highs in there. You know, you get some movie roles and it's back down again.
Highs and lows.
Yeah, it's massive, and it's a massive mental struggle of life after success.
Did you struggle? You know, after the fight.
Yeah.
Because obviously you dedicated so much time and there was so much like hype around that.
Yeah.
With what happened then, what were you like mentally after the fight?
Really bad.
Was it like?
In fact, I was really bad before the fight.
Oh, okay.
Really bad. I obviously COVID.
Yeah.
Was very bad. You know, for someone like myself, because you couldn't shake hands, you couldn't talk to people. And that's literally me. So if I leave the house and go to the supermarket, everyone wants to touch me, everyone wants to shake my hand, everyone wants to get in close and have conversations.
Yeah. And
I just couldn't deal with it. Like I didn't want to leave the house. So for that period of after COVID, leading up to the fight was horrendous in that respect. I had a really bad family issue, which I can't talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really bad family issue that completely fucked my head. Still ongoing.
Right.
And yeah, my mental health going into that fight was really bad as it was. And then after, obviously, it was just such a. I mean, if you remember, I blew my bicep off the bone 6 months before the fight. And that mental battle of getting back into training was so fucking tough. It'd have been tough without the fight.
Yeah.
But it was so much harder knowing I had a deadline to, you know, get to. And it was like 2 months before the fight, I still can't throw my left arm. Still can't throw jabs. Still can't throw hooks. And going into that fight, I'd almost convinced myself that I was going to beat him with one arm. I was just so convinced.
Yeah.
You know, you had to be.
Well, you have been all through your career, though. You've been that guy that's, I'm going to fucking do it, regardless of what I have to do it.
Yeah, I just convinced myself that I was going to beat him with one arm. And I went into the fight with that on my shoulders. And I think I threw 18 punches with my left arm during that fight. And I'm a right-handed fighter, so you throw your jab 10 times more than you'd throw this one. I threw it 18 times. I threw this one over 100.
Just shows, doesn't it?
It just shows.
It just shows, yeah.
So I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying how fucking tough that was mentally.
Yeah.
Going into that fight with one arm, and then losing the fight to someone who I hated. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
He hated me. I hated him. And losing a fight to someone you hate is fucking hard. I've done it in life, but to do it in front of millions and millions of people was even harder. The back end of that, fucking hell, man. You know, with all the family issues I had going on, the COVID restrictions, the fight itself, I had to get help. You know, I had to go and seek therapy.
You did,
I was fucking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really low point in my life. Really, really low. It took me a long time to sort of pick myself back up and get back on track. And I'm well back on track now.
I can see that. How long has it been since that moment then?
2 years.
It's been 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It goes quick, doesn't it?
It's gone fucking
And
really quick.
That was wild. That fight was... The website was built for 50 million people. Up to. And the website crashed. So over 50 million people watched that fight.
Madness.
That's mad. That's like... I can't... Other than back in the day when it was like 3 channels and you could watch Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other fight that's had that kind of viewership.
No.
It was fucking nuts.
And it's another piece in your puzzle, isn't it? Like your puzzle, and I think regardless of what happened in the fight, obviously you struggled afterwards or whatever. But when you look back, no one's going to be able to say you didn't fucking put your all into anything that you've had to go at.
I gave it my all.
Yeah.
I did. I gave it my all. What I was capable of at the time, I gave it my all. And I'm proud of the fact that I got back up every single time, you know, because you get a cut. I got a cut in the first round. The amount of people that I've seen get cuts and piss themselves, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I was saying to the coach, fucking stop this bleeding. You are not stopping this fight. And he was putting the adrenaline in my eye.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going blind in one eye as the adrenaline's dripping into my eye. And I'm like, don't you fucking stop this fight. And then I get another cut, and he's doing 2 on me. And even when I'm sat there, all I can say is, don't fucking stop this fight. I'm going to knock this cunt out.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't give up. I wanted that fucking hit, you know.
What's the relationship like with Thor now?
It's still the same.
It's still the same.
It's still
okay.
the same. We bumped into each other at the Arnold's the year after, and he wouldn't even look at me.
Really?
Yeah, he wouldn't even look at me. And to be fair, I think that's probably the best way. Just ignore each other.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that hatred there. There's always going to be that stigma around it. And in my eyes, he's always going to be that crybaby that couldn't take losing to another man. I can take losing to another man. If it's a fair game, I can take losing to another man.
Yeah.
He could not take that. And that's something I'm proud of. I can take a loss.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
losses are what make you. It's the failures and losses in life that help you grow, step back, realise what you're doing wrong, and go a different path in some ways. It can really teach you some big things in life, losses. So obviously it was hard to take, but I'm actually quite grateful for the loss. You know, it did make me reevaluate my life. It made me step back.
Yeah.
What's important, and it's my family.
Yeah.
And we've had another kid. We're trying for another one.
Yeah, when I saw you outside, I was like, well, I'm not asking, but that's good to see, mate. That's fucking really good to see.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for that, who knows? You know, I could have been. If I won that fight, I probably would have taken another one, then another one, and another one, and maybe I wouldn't have had my daughter.
Yes.
You know, I wouldn't have had another kid. So everything happens for a reason, and I'm always grateful for the journey.
Yeah. And you have had a fucking journey, mate. You have had a
so
journey.
Far.
So
more
far.
to come.
There's more to come, definitely. Right, I don't want to take any more of your time, but I will end with a little gift from the sponsors of the show, Heavy Duty Gym Weight.
Oh, nice.
We got a bigger size, mate. It's 5XL, I think, is the bigger size. Whether that fits the beast, I'm not too sure, but they're doing some good things, Heavy Duty. And we've also got a collab t-shirt out with 𝘴𝘰𝘰𝘠𝑰, which is out in the next couple of weeks.
Has you got the beast on the back? Oh, you missed a beat there.
It's not that custom.
Missed a beat there.
It was a last minute thing because obviously we wanted to get up here. But there you go. Hopefully it fits.
I mean, obviously I've got my own clothing line.
I know.
And Boohoo sponsored, but I'm sure the wife would love this as a 90. So
there we go.
Thank you, Heavy Duty Gym. Man. Appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. TBSP for money off any heavy duty purchases. And yeah, man. Thank you very much for your time. Glad the rain held off.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And yeah, it was awesome. It was. I hope people can take something from that because there's a lot of golden fucking nuggets, and a lot of life lessons, and a mad journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers for watching, listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube. Subscribe, comment for more. Like I said, this is the biggest one now, and hopefully that will continue. So I will see you on the next episode. And cheers. Peace.